What game is on at 9?
The NCAA men's final.
Oh, please forgive me.
Okay, Gonzaga University is playing Baylor University.
It'll be a big game.
Oh. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Flyers, and I think they're on
No.
before that. So
They're dead. They're totally dead.
They got like 200 games. They have like 200 games left to play, don't they? I don't know. I mean, it runs forever.
They do have a lot, but
Well, the Phillies are undefeated,
they're getting
so we have that
close to
going for
not
us.
qualifying.
Like the baseball, they got like 200 too many games to play. It's ridiculous.
So if I can, the meeting is now being recorded. It is a virtual meeting. We are taking public comment one of 4 ways. You can drop your public comment off at the blue drop box in front of the township building. It's at our main entrance. It's before you go up the stairs to go in the library. I have checked that box prior to the meeting. There was no public comment at this time. You can also raise your hand during the meeting virtually through Zoom, either on your screen or through the phone. If you choose to do that, we will recognize you. Again, just a reminder, if you're going to give public comment, please make sure you share your name and your address before you start making your comment. Thirdly, if you can't get in by either the screen or by Zoom, or for some reason we're missing the recognition, you're welcome to send your public comment to publiccomment@newtowntownship.org. Again, that's publiccomment@newtowntownship.org. All of that is one word, no spaces. If you are sending something in, again, please make sure you include your name and your address for the record. And if you're sending something in because you're having trouble getting in by raising your hand, please make sure you give your screen name and or phone number that you called in with so that we can recognize you appropriately. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call the April 5th, 2021 Newtown Township Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call. Marquet.
Here.
Maria Kane.
You're muted, Maria. You're muted.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Okay, Maria, thank you. John Weaver.
Here.
Kalik Savant. Okay.
Kalika Savant here.
Kalika, thank you. Council, J. Michael Sheridan.
Here.
Operations Manager, Mr. Stephen Neese. I know he's here. He's on mute, but that's okay. And our engineer, Mr. David Porter.
Here.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment of silence now in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Everyone's had an opportunity to look at the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Minutes. Everyone's had an opportunity to look at both well, let's start with number 1. A motion to approve the minutes for the February 16th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Second is 6.2. Everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes from the March 1st, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And there are no announcements. Do we have any public comment at this time?
I do have one, Mr. Chairman, because I didn't see it in the minutes, so I apologize. But what was the status, and this might be for Mr. Porter, the status of 314 Summit with regards to the exposure of the sewer line and the stream bank there, excuse me.
I do have that in my engineer's report this evening, but I can certainly briefly cover it right now. I intended to get out after the snow melt to take a look at the bank itself to observe any progress in the erosion of that bank. I just did not make it out there since the last meeting. I'm scheduling that for this week to go through and take a look at that and then make a recommendation to the authority as to the urgency of action for stabilization at that point in time.
Got it. And Dave, I apologize, but was there infiltration when you did the test? What was the result of that?
Yes, so we implemented flow meters for a period of 3 months. And it does appear that there is a correlation between rainfall, significant rainfall events, and elevated flows in the sanitary sewer in that section of the sewer main. So that would be indicative of some degree of either inflow or infiltration getting into the system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Number 9.1. May I make a motion that we consider transferring $1,167.60?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there are actually 2 hands raised, plus there's an email public comment.
Okay, all right, then let us go back to public comment. I'm sorry, I thought that's all we had. Okay, go ahead.
I'll do the first one. It's JJH. Please unmute yourself and give your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm John Hughes, 705 Barclay Lane, Broomall, formerly 400 Bishop Hollow Road. I sent the email and basically sent the email to the solicitor, Mr. Sheridan, back in February 10th. I haven't received any response, so I sent the email into the Dropbox. Basically 3 questions. I think the chairman and the solicitor are well familiar with my contract with the authority. So basically, there's 3 properties which I am entitled to reimbursement upon future connection of those properties: 392, 396, and 404 Bishop Hollow Road. So my questions basically are, I wanted to understand which service area these 3 properties reside in. I believe it may be the Camelot service area. Second question, my question is whether notices have been sent out to these 3 properties for hookup in accordance with the ordinance. And third question is to ensure that the authority, included my reimbursement fee as part of the hookup fee, which they have indicated that they would do without me having to contact the authority. So if Mr. Sweeney or Mr. Sheridan could address that, I would appreciate it. I believe Mr. Porter.
I think, John, by answering your second question first, no notices have gone out to the residents in that service area because there is still work occurring, in particular with the Camelot pump station, as well as there's an issue with the pump station at Old Masters. So once that is done, then the letters will go out, including to the 3 residents you mentioned.
Okay, and
now we had, and John, that I have the information with regard to the tapping fee reimbursement.
Okay, that's great, Mr. Sheridan. I appreciate that. I just wasn't sure if they were part of Camelot or part of another service. I thought maybe they were Springfield at one point in time. So, the
letters that have gone out went out to the Echo Valley service area, the Ashford pump station service area, but it hasn't occurred yet because the system's not completed on that part of the system.
I understand it. Yeah, and I have been trying to follow the meeting, so I know you're trying to work out the electric and the gas hookup.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Hughes, before you go, I'm assuming the public comment you just made, I don't need to read your email into the record?
You don't need to read the email.
Okay.
I basically gave a summary, of my contract with the authority in the email.
Yeah.
So as long as the authority has it on record, I'm fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, who else now?
Patty Wilson, bring her on.
Patty Wilson, 4111 Battles Lane. I offer the following.
Whoops.
We lose her?
I apologize. That may have been my fault.
Okay.
Patty Wilson, 4111 Battles Lane. I offer the following public comment. In your prior meeting, you discussed Melmark's request that they be allowed to now claim a reduced capacity need, which translates to a significantly reduced tapping fee. An additional thought and problem with even considering this request is the fact that infrastructure was designed and built, so we spent money on it, to accommodate the increased capacity that Melmark determined they needed. So when they went into the plan, they asked for 25,000 gallons per day. We designed and we built infrastructure to accommodate that. If you allow this reduction in capacity and cost, you will be asking residents to shoulder an even greater burden for the cost of the project. I am commenting that you should not grant this request. Melmark can't have just figured this out. The municipal authority sent duty to connect letters in August 2020, and yet over 6 months later, many residents have not paid their tapping fees as indicated on this month's report. Again, other residents who have paid on time should not be burdened with non-payment without seeking to understand why these tapping fees have not been paid. Maybe some of these residents don't think they have to pay until they connect. I am commenting that a reminder letter should go out to all those that have not paid with a clear message of payment despite deferral or a plan to connect in the near term. Additionally, it should be made clear that connection needs to happen prior to the sale of homes, as multiple homes have gone to settlement without connection, and some of them have not paid the tapping fee. Finally, I've written up my comment concerning the residents that are over 150 feet but adjacent to a sewer connection. I'll be sending this for your review via the public comment email address. I ask that you take those comments into consideration and make them part of the record. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Nope.
I see no other hands raised.
Okay, thank you. Number 9.1, fund transfer. I make a motion that we can transfer $1,167.60 from the Consolidated Fund to the Escrow Fund. A check was processed from the Escrow Fund when it was Consolidated Fund expense. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second the motion.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. Everyone's had an opportunity to look at the treasurer's report. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report as submitted by staff?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the report? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. We have 17 payments. I'll read them.
Good luck.
Thank you. 11.1, I make a motion that we can consider ratifying the reoccurring bills paid on check registered A dated March 12th, 2021, totaling $11,132.56. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.2, I make a motion we consider approving the bills on check register A dated April 5th, 2021, totaling $420,518.28. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank
Hey,
you.
Stephen, can you move the agenda? There you go. Thank you.
Okay. 11.3, I make a motion we consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $8,833.74 to Herbert McCombie Engineering for the Part 2 permit work, Act 537 Public Sewer Project relative to the Camelot Service Area construction. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.4, I make a motion we consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $180.62 to Herman Company Engineering for Part 2 permit work, public sewer project relative to the Springton Point service area construction. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.5, I make a motion, we consider approving the payments from the bonds totaling $2,325.62 to Herman Company Engineering for Part 2 permit work relative to the Ashford service area. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.6, I make a motion, we consider approving a payment from the bonds totaling $1,414 to Michael Sheridan for professional services associated with the 537 public sewer project build-out. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.7, I make a motion, we consider approving $119.84 refund to Siobhan Bettina at 281 Aronimink Drive for a sewer overpayment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.8, I make a motion, we consider approving $268.82 refund to Michael Hines at 211 Hansel Road for a sewer overpayment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.9, I make a motion, we consider approving $199.01 refund to Dickie Ryan at 9 Pickwick Lane for a sewer overpayment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.10, I make a motion, we consider approving $264.42 refund to Mr. B. Applebaum, DMD at 210 Hansel Road for a sewer overpayment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.11, I make a motion, we consider approving the $750 escrow release payment to A.L. Prudenti, Inc. at 3604 Horton Road for a completed project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.12, consider approving a payment of $72 to James Lanzalato at 34 Heather Way for an alarm refund which was submitted to Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.13, I make a motion, we consider approving a payment of $36 to Mark Testaluti at Frog Hollow Lane for an alarm refund which was submitted to Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 11.14, I make a motion that we approve the payment of $5,785.99 to Lisa Mackel at 617 Golf Club Road for a tax payment refund, which was submitted to Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Could-
All in favor?
Could,
Go ahead.
could the business manager explain to us what's going on here?
Yes, basically what's happened is that I guess because the two bills went out really close together, people were using the sewer or using the Express Bill Pay, but using their municipal authority account to try to pay township payments. And we can't move that money without you authorizing us to move that money out of your account. And that's what's happening.
And Steve, if I may chime in, I'm currently working with Express Bill Pay about how to handle this, but a lot of these are coming from online banking services. So if someone uses online banking, they go on. The last check they wrote was to Newtown Township Municipal Authority. They got a bill for Newtown Township. So they're simply just sending their taxes, their business licenses, their alarm registrations to the municipal authority without reading that it's actually a township bill.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. 11.15, I make a motion, we consider approving the payment of $428.72 to Michael Hearn at 23 Pine Street for a tax payment refund, which was submitted through Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 11.16. Make a motion, we approve $1,139.12 refund to Energy Savings Now LLC at 5 Hempstead Road for a tax payment which was submitted to Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And 11.17, consider approving a payment of $75. I'm sorry, make a motion that we consider approving the payment of $75 to Alana Marcus for a business registration refund, which was submitted to Express Bill Pay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start tonight with our sewer project update with regard to the Ashford service area. As you know, both pump stations are up and running. We're awaiting response from J.O. Bradley Construction for a response to our comments back to them with regard to their request for additional payment. I've still not received anything. They do still have some final punch list items to address throughout the service area. Minor restoration items is basically all that remains out there. With regard to connections in that service area, as of a week and a half ago, it was the 23rd of March, we had 43 connections completed into the system. We have a total of 30 folks deferring their connection. 70 people have submitted applications. Of those 70, 55 were approved for connection. We're awaiting their scheduling with their contractor to install their lateral connection. Another 15 of those are responding to outstanding comments. And there are 64 total that have not responded to the initial letter that was sent out by the authority in August of 2020. That ties in with the public comment that was made a little earlier with regard to sending out a notification. I'm presuming the authority would like me and Mr. Sheridan to work on a revised letter to send out and coordinate that with the township staff. Is that accurate, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, let's just go through the math real quick. So based on
Okay.
what you're telling me, we have a potential of 207 connections in the Ashford service area. Of the 207, 143 have either connected, deferred, or have submitted for connection, leaving us 64 residents whom have not responded to our initial letter. Is that correct? Is that the right math?
That is correct. That does not include those dozen or so that had requested exemption according to the 150 foot. So there are those other folks that may be tying in or maybe deferring as well.
Okay, so we've got a total then potential 219 total.
Correct.
12 are within that description of 150 plus feet. 64 have not responded at all, leaving us with
Correct.
143 that have responded in some way at this point in time.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Then
And,
yes,
and in fact, Mr. Chairman, of those people that have deferred and are connected, and the folks that have submitted their applications to connect, they've all submitted their tapping fee payment along with those applications or their request to defer.
So you're telling me 143 residents in Ashford service area have paid their tapping fee?
Yes,
Okay, so that leaves us with 64 that we know haven't responded and 12 who have opted for the long, what I'll call the long run deferment. Long run
Correct.
being the distance. Okay. Yeah, so I would like you to work with council to get a letter out to the 64 residents whom have not responded and let them know that under the ordinance, they have to respond that the tapping fee is due and payable now. And we'll give them a period of time of council 30 days to respond. Is that appropriate or longer or shorter?
How
Mike,
much is the
Mike, you're-
tapping fee?
Is council there? Michael?
Mike, you're muted.
Yes, that's all right, but I would also include indicating after the 30 days, their property will be liened.
That's my next point was once you're comfortable with the time frame, whether it be 30 or 45 days, whatever you're comfortable with, then I would outline the course of action that the authority is going to take, starting with liening the property and then going from there.
I agree. There's no reason to give notice unless we are going to put what the next steps are. Should the tapping fee not be paid within that time frame.
Okay. So Mike, you can work with Dave, but let's get the letter out. Let's give them 30 days to respond. And, make them aware that that tapping fee is due and payable now. And if they fail to respond within 30 days, the authority will start by liening the property, and then whatever other actions the authority wants to take, we can take.
okay. We do have a list pulled together of those 64. I'll get those over to Rich in the morning, and I'll share that with Mike, and we'll get that.
Can you get,
that
Dave,
ball
can you
rolling.
send me a copy of the 64 that are outstanding too, please?
Yes,
And then, Khalid, to answer your question, the tapping fee is $69.50,
correct.
$69.50, $6,950.
Yeah, so I was thinking that I wanted to pose this. Thank you for the answer. And I was thinking that perhaps would it be prudent to extend the timeline to 45 days? And then if there's any financial constraints or any other kind of constraints, we may want to consider, and I don't know if this would be fair or not, but some kind of way to do this monthly or in installments.
Well, number one, I don't think we need to go past 30 days. They've been aware of this for the better part of 6 months. The letters went out in August. This project's been under the drawing board for the better part of, I've lost track how many years. So those residents are well aware of the fact that the sewer's there. We dug up the streets. We've repaved all the streets. No one can say that they didn't know that the sewer's going in and what the obligations and responsibilities are. They've chosen not to respond. It's a conscious decision. If there is an economic issue, they've had plenty of opportunity to contact council, our engineer, the township staff, or come to a meeting and ask for a private meeting to discuss a financial situation. None of that's occurred. So in my mind, they've got 30 days. They don't respond. We're going to take the action we need to take.
Oh, I thought you had asked for an opinion on whether it should be 30 or 45. So I was just.
I was asking counsel from a legal standpoint. That's all. I'm sorry. I was asking counsel for a legal point of view. That's all.
Gotcha.
If anybody else wants to chime in, go ahead. But that's my feeling where we are and what we've accomplished to date. And we're down to
I agree.
64 people.
Yeah, I think it's, I think whether we go 30 or 45, I'm happy to leave that up to Mike at this point. But there's no question that they've been on notice for quite a period of time now. So there's no reason, I don't think, to offer any additional avenues for them other than to pay.
Okay.
Plus, the only thing I would add to this, previously, we looked at properties that were either listed for sale or listed as pending or under contract for sale. For those properties, and we've notified them again to connect, for those, I'll work with Rich to find out who has not, and I think we ought to lean them right away.
Okay, I don't disagree with that at all. We've had a couple of situations where people have cooperated with us and we've cooperated with them on sales, but we also have had, I think, a few whom we were working with and they closed and they did not honor their end of the deal. So if that's the case, then, you know, we don't have to be as lenient going forward. We can just simply not allow a sale to take place until they're connected. We can continue to look at that on a case-by-case basis, but I think to date, most of those, Mike, that we've worked with have honored the agreement of putting up the money, putting up the escrows and signing the documents. I think we've had one situation, maybe more than one, that they have not followed through.
I'm aware of only one situation, 190 Hunt Valley Circle, in which it was agreed as represented by the realtors, a woman named, a resident named Sarah Forte, and her associate Susan McNally, who represented that there would be a connection agreement and escrow provided. To my knowledge, it never has been. The property was closing.
Well, then, you know, going forward, we'll just be more aware that if that brokerage team brings us a situation, we'll look at it with certainly a more fine-tuned. I'm trying to think of the word I want to use. We'll look at it more closely. How's that? We won't be as flexible. That's all.
Well, I think, well, you know, once you get bit once, shame on them. Second time, shame on you.
Okay.
I would say, you know, if they don't agree to sign a connection escrow agreement, they don't get the C&O.
Okay.
They don't get the close.
All right. We have to coordinate that with the township, correct? As to them issuing a CO?
Yep.
Okay, so we just have to make sure the township staff or that person at the township level is cognizant of the fact that any transaction in Echo Valley, we have to make sure that they have either connected, are connected, have signed an agreement to connect before they issue a CO.
We have added that to the CO process to help
Okay.
eliminate that problem.
Okay, good. Okay. So let's get that letter out. Let's put a 30-day time frame on it. Let them know what the next course of action would be if they don't respond, and then we'll go ahead and lien them, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that? No? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Porter, continue.
Yes, sir. With that, if financial hardship is an issue for some of those residents, perhaps it would be prudent to include something with regard to the Penvest loans that are available. And I can work with Rich Lafayette to get that information added to the letters. In fact, we did have a couple of homeowners that took advantage of that in the Echo Valley area. And it was a pretty simple process on our end. As far as the engineers and inspectors are concerned, we just simply had to provide a copy of the lateral inspection form for them, being the homeowner, to submit to the Pennsylvania Housing and Finance Authority to complete that process to get their reimbursement. So it was a really simple process. So we've had at least 2 or 3 that have taken advantage of that at this point in time.
But that information, Dave, went out to everybody. It went
Yes.
out to everybody.
Yep.
We can send it again, but I don't like, but just so
It's a good idea to put a reminder in there, Mike.
Yeah.
It's also on the website.
Yep. No, I agree, Mike. It was in the original letter. I absolutely agree. The Camelot service area update with regard to the Camelot Lane pump station gas service is being scheduled 2 weeks from, it was March 31st. So April 14th is when the gas service install is scheduled. Electrical service is waiting on cable that was previously ordered to be delivered to the Pico yard, and that's expected to come in sometime this month. The Old Masters pump station, we are currently working through a temporary and permanent easement agreement for the electrical and the driveway in and around the Rafferty property, as well as through the Old Masters property. In fact, Mike Sheridan had worked with the golf course's legal counsel and was able to obtain a draft easement through the Philadelphia Suburban Water / Aqua Water property for a portion of that access driveway. Our office has drafted copies of the mapping to go along with the easement agreement. We have to draft the legal description to match that mapping, and those exhibits or portions of that agreement will be completed hopefully in the next few days.
I wouldn't, number one, I wouldn't put the time frame on it. Number two,
Okay.
keep conscious that there's litigation outstanding.
I was going to say, we've got.
You want to measure your comment.
No,
Yeah,
I'm simply just saying that our legal descriptions and our exhibits will be completed in the next few days. That's it.
Okay, for the board's information, there is a court hearing scheduled for April 22nd, of which our engineer and myself have been asked by our counsel to attend the hearing in Delaware County Court with the Rafferty Group as it relates to our taking of the condemnation for the easement. We have tried to make a settlement. It's been no movement whatsoever from the Rafferty. So as of this morning, we are still headed to court on the 22nd of April. Once we get out of court, I'll let the board know what the results were and where we go from there.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Dave, continue.
That concludes the report on the sewer project. If the authority doesn't have any other questions, I'll move forward with the remainder of the engineer's report.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Go ahead.
Okay, Melmark Pump Station project. I did coordinate with Mike Sheridan and the Melmark Schools Legal Counsel over the last few weeks regarding the financial security agreement and the capacity purchase agreement. I did speak with the DEP after the last authority meeting to get clarification on allowing Melmark School to purchase a lesser flow than was included in the Act 537 plan update, and what may be done with that residual flow after the agreements are executed. And Mike, you can feel free to jump in anytime with regard to the specificity of the agreements, but the result of the DEP conversation was such that if Melmark School does only need a certain amount of flow that's under that 25,000 gallons that was included in the 537 plan at this time, and they have substantiated that based on the water usage as they had, the authority, there's no reason the authority can't enter into an agreement or capacity purchase for some flow that's lesser than that. What would happen in the future is if the authority wanted to reallocate that flow to somewhere else in the municipality, a technical planning document would need to be executed and approved through the DEP to release that residual flow back to the authority for reallocation. That's what was explained to me. That's what I had previously understood from the DEP in the past as well.
Just to close the loop on that, the gallonage is 19,800 gallons per day of wastewater treatment capacity in the system, which equates to 88 EDUs. The agreements, as I circulated to the board, is to reserve that capacity and pay a reservation fee to be credited against the ultimate tapping fee amount at the time of connection to be paid in full. And both Dave and I have reviewed the agreements. There's also a financial security agreement in there to ensure that the project is satisfactorily completed. And so those two agreements there'd be a recommendation to approve them this evening.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the Melmark pump station? No? All right, Dave, on the Dunwoody.
Okay, Dunwoody Village, just a quick update on that. The school's pump station vendor reached out to see if there was any anything that they could help with as far as design or providing technical documents. I indicated that I had spoken with Dunwoody Village's engineers and reached out to confirm with them that they were still working on the project to get me revised information and revisions to the submittal for the pump station, which they did confirm that they are working on that, but I have not received anything yet. Ellis Preserve, Sector 1, Phase 2 residential. I did meet with the authority special counsel last Thursday regarding the overall Ellis site, so that he could be brought up to speed on the overall project as far as the previous planning, the previous planning documents that were approved by the DEP, the exemption that was approved by the DEP, as well as the current project for this residential. The DEP, if you recall, approved the exemption for this residential component contingent upon the authority and the developer providing a report to summarize everything that was constructed, the buildings that are occupied, the infrastructure that has been offered for dedication, and if it hasn't been yet, what the status of that offer of dedication has been. I did speak with the DEP in that regard. I explained that the authority has retained special counsel. We needed some additional time to provide that documentation, so I will be reaching out to the developer to coordinate that. And as I mentioned, I just met with special counsel last Thursday, so it's only been a couple of days. I will be coordinating with him to develop the revised language for the current agreement and any of the prior agreements if necessary. So 314 Summit Avenue, I think I covered that a little bit earlier. And lastly, the Chapter 94 waste load management report for the CDCA service area was completed and submitted to the DEP last week. And that concludes my engineer's report.
Dave, jump back to number 5, Muirwood Hills, the dedication.
Yes, Muirwood Hills dedication. There was a response from the legal counsel, Greg Edelman, with regard to the revision to the easement documents that we requested. If you recall, the way that they had drafted the easement was such that it appeared that there were existing dwellings on either side of the 20-foot sanitary sewer easement that were either exactly on the edge of that easement or possibly encroaching. After several iterations and encouragement for them to go out and physically survey the location of the buildings, apparently they would have been in the sanitary sewer easement. So they did revise that geometry to ensure that the buildings were outside of the easement. In coordinating with Muirwood's legal counsel, it was discovered that there is an apparent gap in between the terminus of Dogwood Lane and where the Muirwood community picks up. So there's essentially a sliver of ground. It's about 10 feet wide. That's part and parcel of the Suburban Seahawks Swim Club. I did ask their legal counsel if he was aware if there was any easements to facilitate drainage that currently drains from Dogwood through the Muirwood Hills community. He was not able to find anything. So it appears that we're going to have to approach the Suburban Seahawks Swim Club to acquire an easement for that portion of ground where the sanitary sewer crosses to facilitate drainage from the Dogwood community through the Muirwood Hills development.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? No?
No, I just think it's great progress. Thanks, Dave.
Sure, you're welcome.
Okay. Operations Manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, the real item that we need to talk about tonight is actually further down on your agenda, number 14.2. We have a situation where, and you can take action at that point, but just let you know that we're having quite a few people who are claiming they've mailed their payments in prior to the due date, but because of some of the challenges with the post office, we have received them late, particularly since our provider is out in the west. who provides the processing for some of those, or for most of those. And so the people are asking for relief of the penalty due to the delays. I do want to make a reminder to the public that this can be paid online, and there would be no delay by doing so. So, but I do know that's what's one of the challenges that's happening.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
That's the main things. KBX is continuing to monitor all of our pump stations, and we were supposed to have a meeting almost a month ago now, and we're still rescheduling it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. 14 new business, 14.1. Consider waiving the additional $250 review fee for the residents that were previously told properties more than 150 feet exempt from connection. Somebody want to elaborate on this?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
If you remember, there was about, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, there's about 10 to 15 residents that were informed that if they were over about 150 feet, they were exempt. Because we never pursued to connection, we pursued to collections, there's an additional $250 application fee after 60 days. Since these individuals were told that they were previously exempt, they're asking if they can pay the original $500 application fee versus the $750 application fee.
Okay. All right. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay. I'll make a motion that we do waive the additional $250 for those residents whom were under the impression they did not have to connect beyond 150 feet, who have now been told they have to. So their connection, their fee would simply be the original $500. Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 14.2, discussion about waiving the late payment penalty due to delays in the United States Postal Service deliveries. I guess we're all aware of the fact that the Postal Service is overwhelmed for whatever reason in getting mail processed and getting mail out. I do think it is appropriate for us at this time to waive late fees, at least for this billing cycle, and I would probably might as well do it for the next billing cycle until we get a better feel for the system coming back into sync. Primarily, I guess, as it relates to COVID, and more of the staff are getting COVID vaccines, and hopefully the infection rate will continue to decrease. So I would make a motion that we waive this billing cycle and the next billing cycle. If in fact someone is late, that we would waive that late fee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Question. How do you determine that it was due to delays in the postal services? Are we going by postmarks, and does our vendor have the ability to check postmarks?
Steve, would you like me to handle that?
That's one of the challenges that we have, is the vendor, when they do it, they're not looking at postmarks. They're just processing, because the number of payments they process, and they just bring them in. So that's one of the challenges that we have. Obviously, if it came here, we would check that, but they're processing not only our payments, but lots of other payments in addition, and so they don't check that.
John, the reality of the situation is it's going to be a blanket policy for the next two cycles.
Well, then we need to change the motion.
Okay. I mean, we could just reword it to say it's a blanket across the board, a blanket policy that the authority will waive late payments for the next two billing cycles, regardless of whether or not it's a postal service issue, because we can't really quantify that. And it's going to be too much of a challenge for anyone to try and figure that out. So my motion then would be that we waive late payments for this billing cycle and the next billing cycle on a blanket wide basis. And we can reevaluate where we are going into the third billing cycle, so the third billing cycle, third quarter is when we would reevaluate this.
Would it make sense to revise the motion so that there was just additional time to pay, since we're not making it, we're not conditioning it based on a particular reason or on any proof?
I'd rather keep it, I mean, I'd rather just keep it, people trying to get it paid when it's supposed to be paid, and if it does get in late, we're not gonna penalize them. But if we start saying, well, whenever you get it to us, then we're gonna have people, delaying their payment just because they can.
Well, no, I think you and I are on the same page. I think, if the payment is due on the first of the month and it's supposed to be paid, if the bill goes out and it's supposed to be paid within 30 days of the first day of the month, and we don't get the payment for 6 months. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not that the bills for the next 2 billing cycles.
Okay, I see what you're saying then.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're
I
saying.
think
then.
you give them, instead of 30 days, you give them 60 days. That's
Okay, all right.
just
I-
internally, not on the bill. It's still due within 30 days, whatever the
Right.
payment due date is.
Okay, you know
We're
what?
not gonna-
You're right, Maria. So I'll withdraw that previous motion. And let me see if I can rephrase what I think Maria is trying to say is, I make a motion that we waive a late penalty for any bill that comes in up to 60 days past the approved due date. Beyond 60 days, the penalty would be applied. That 60 days gives the Postal Service 60 days to get a letter or a bill from point A to point B in 60 days, which I do believe they are doing. So my motion would be that we waive a late penalty if a bill is received, if payment is received within the 60-day window. Beyond 60 days, we will not waive the penalty. Does that make sense?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, now it's not on the agenda, but I know we have circulated, council has circulated to all the members of the board the agreement with Melmark for the reduction in total gallons per day that they've requested. The documents have been drafted and reviewed by council. They're going from 25,000 gallons to 19,500 gallons. We have talked to DEP. DEP says that we are within our rights to allow that to occur. Those extra gallons on a per daily basis go into what we'll call the authority bank and used for other opportunities that may arise at some point in the future. There are some issues with DEP we have to go through to use them, but they're ours for us to use. I had a thought here and it just went by me. I
Happens to the
think
best of us.
that equates to approximately, I think that, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that equates to 19 EDUs that we're taking back. Is my math correct?
Well, if you take, instead of 25, you get 25,200, divide by 225, and that'll tell you. I can't do that math in my head.
So it's 112 EDUs, of which they purchased how many? 74?
They purchased 88, 19,800.
Oh, you're right, 88, I'm sorry. So that leaves us with 24 EDUs that go back into our account. And that equates to $166,800. Just so everybody understands the math. We can take those back, and then we have the ability, if there's other opportunities within the township that we have not fully accounted for during the original 537 plan, we can take those and we can sell them. And we will be, once we, just for the record, everybody knows, once we get through the development and open up Florida Park and the lower end to be able to connect, and we go through a a 12-month cycle, we're going to begin to raise the price of the EDU, right, Mr. Porter?
Correct.
We have the ability to do that. So we will continue to raise that price on an annual basis so that if we go at some point in the future, it will not be $6,900, it'll be something greater than $6,900. Melmark has made the request. We have talked to DEP, and council with Melmark's council has drafted up the appropriate documents. They've been circulated to all the board members. So number one, I'd like anyone to have any questions or comments on the documents. And then two, would someone make a motion to approve the deal with Melmark at the lower daily per gallon rate? So let me start with any questions from any of the other members of the board based on the documentation presented. No questions? Would someone please make a motion that we accept the deal with Melmark?
There's two agreements, the financial security agreement and the reservation and purchase of capacity.
Let's start with the first, which is the reservation and purchase of capacity agreement that we've all had a chance to look at and review. Someone make a motion that we accept that and execute the agreement with Melmark.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of capacity agreement with Melmark as
Do we have a
written.
second.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. The second is, would someone make a motion that we accept the agreement for the reservation fee and the financial, the financial obligation.
Financial security agreement.
Right, I'm sorry. I don't have it in front of me. The financial security agreement from Melmark.
I make a motion to approve the financial security agreement between Melmark and the authority.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on that agreement? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any other new business?
Mr. Chairman, if there isn't anything else that the authority needs to discuss, I have two items that I wanted to bring to the authority's attention.
We do have old business, but go ahead.
Well, one is with regard to the Ashford service area. We did receive, if you recall, the work property in which the Newtown Hunt pump station is situated on. The authority agreed to entertain reimbursing the property owner for their physical connection to the sanitary sewer system. I just wanted to let the authority know that I was presented with 3 price quotes for that physical construction of his lateral tie-in. One was for $6,100. One was for $5,600. The other one was for $10,600. I did review each price quote. The low bid appears to have a rock exclusion in that. So what I need to do is go back to Mr. Wark and Anthony Voci, who's his legal counsel. Mike, I will share these price quotes with you before I reach out to them. I just want to make sure that they're presenting apples to apples before the authority agrees to take on and to reimburse the property owner for one of these.
Are the 3 contractors acceptable to you?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know. That's fine.
Yep, all 3 of them have done other lateral applications in the township, in the sewer project area as well.
Okay.
Second, if you recall, the authority did authorize Ryan Tree and Landscaping to remove 4 dead trees along the sanitary sewer easement at 305 Echo Valley Lane. That work was completed in January. The invoice was submitted and did not make the prior authority's agenda. So this total amount was $3,500. The authority agreed to that at a prior meeting. I just need the authority to vote to approve release of funds for this. I will get the fund requisition form drafted and over to Rich Lafayette in the morning for signatures. But it's $3,500. It's for 305 Echo Valley Lane. It was removal of 4 trees within the sanitary sewer easement area.
Okay, I'll make the motion. And we approve the release of 3,500 from the bond proceeds to Ryan Tree Service for the removal of 4 trees from 305 Echo Valley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Mr. Porter, anything else?
Nothing further.
Okay. Last 20 Walnut Lane sewer forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
I saw exchange of emails. I read them. I was under the impression that we approved this at the last meeting, but obviously I was wrong. So for the board, Mr. Lafayette, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to brief the board and then make a recommendation, please?
Yeah, sure. So a few months back, Mr. D'Annunzio approached township staff about a leaking toilet. A few weeks later, he responded and said it was a leaking toilet as well as a burst pipe. In response, I responded that I'm not sure if we can adjust his sewer bill due to the fact that a leaking toilet goes down, the sewer and is treated by the authority. So at that point, Mr. D'Annunzio said that he did not believe that the leaking toilet was the culprit anymore, and it was the leaking pipe. So I was just looking for some guidance on how to adjust his bill and how the board would like me to present it to them.
All right. So how much money are we talking about here that you're asking or he's asking to be reimbursed for?
At the end of the day, we are looking at about 9,000 gallons, which is $101.88.
Okay. And recognize the fact that if you looked at the data, there was an unusual increase in volume during that specific period of time.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah.
There's no disputing that. The
No.
question is, where did it come from? Is it a leaky pipe or was it a running toilet?
Correct.
Okay. And you're saying that that variation is approximately 9,000 gallons?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I mean, Dave, just off the cuff, would a toilet run 9,000 gallons?
It's very possible.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Well, board members, open for discussion. Mr. Nunzio has been a regular at our meeting for various issues regarding his meter and things of that nature. He came at the last meeting. He provided pictures which were put on the screen of a cracked pipe. The pipe was leaking. So I'm open to questions, and then I'm open to somebody making a motion if they want to.
I will make comment. He has his hand raised too. Mr.
I thought so. Let us go through the board first. So, board members, questions, comments? Or would someone like to go ahead and make a motion to address the issue?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we accept the 9,000 gallons as due to the pipe leak and not going into our sewer and not charging Ms. Nunzio any money for it.
Well, it would be the $108.88. Is that a refund, Mr. Rich, or is that actually that was a bill, but it hasn't been paid?
No, I do believe it's a refund. It's $101.88.
So he's paid his bills. He's current. He just overpaid as a result of that 9,000 gallons.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Mark, your motion is that we would refund Mr. D'Annunzio $101.88 as overpayment for the leak.
That's correct.
Okay. Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor of refunding Mr. D'Annunzio? Go ahead, Maria.
No, I just want to make sure, just in case this comes up again, has Mr. D'Annunzio ever asked for a refund related to water usage, not related to the meter issue in the past?
I don't-
Other than the second meter, no, he has not.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor of refunding Mr. D'Annunzio $101,088, please say aye.
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 All right, Mr. D'Annunzio, do you still need to address the board?
His hand is still raised.
Okay, let him in.
Okay, am I there?
You're here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just have one other issue I wanted to address with the board. I actually had a late fee, which is exactly what you just talked about in 14.2. Put on my bill on the for $19, I believe, and 76 cents, and I was asking that I be refunded for that. And I've been bringing the payment right down to the blue mailbox. I'm not going to mess with the mail anymore because that payment went out probably 2 weeks before it was due, and it didn't get there. So I'm just asking if you could refund me that.
Well, we can't address that tonight. Mr. Lafayette can take a look at that and see if that's accurate. If it is, he can bring it back to the board next month.
That's fine. I
Okay.
appreciate it, and thank you
All right.
for the previous approval. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Okay. Any other old business? I just have one question, really. Has there been any discussion about going back to live meetings?
What a great idea.
Mr.
At
Neef?
this time, there has not. We are, from a standpoint of where the township has been, we've been kind of waiting for people to be able to be vaccinated. We would be able to, at this point, there is more capacity, but it's still not necessarily always equal to what we have online. And so,
Okay, I was just asking. I just was curious.
we are watching that, and we are monitoring that. We were kind of hoping that at least people have a chance to get vaccinated before we did that, but that's where we are.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions, comments? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Please.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Aye.
Bye.